Welcome, welcome to your practice, and welcome to a new moon in Virgo, which happened at 4 a.m. So I wasn't up. You might not have been up, but I just want to talk just a little bit about this new moon and about this time we're in. I know in my newsletter I use the word refinement, and I've been really meditating on that word. And you know, in the sense of yoga, right? Yoga is a refining process in which we embark on. I mean, a lot of us join yoga at the first just to get more flexible or to be stronger. And then we realize that yoga can help our mind. It can help our emotional and mental health. It can help us balance the way we live our life, our lifestyle. It can influence the choices we make. And so without even like intending it, yoga becomes a refining process in which maybe we make better choices about our food, or maybe better choices about how we spend our time. And then we learn that with yoga, you know, the Yoga Sutras say that the practice becomes grounded when it's frequent, when we're going to our mat more than just one time a week or twice a week. We go regularly. When we keep that, right? Because then we see that there's progress, right? And it becomes kind of established because it's something we do regularly over a long period of time. So it takes time. It's not only just to get your hand to the floor and in a forward fold, but it takes time to get used to the practice. Takes time to build a relationship with your body over the mat. And then the third principle it says that it takes is devotion. It takes an enthusiasm, right? Because there's days that you don't want to show up on the mat. There's days when you want to sleep in, or there's days when you're like, I don't want to practice. But yet when we come to our mat, it becomes this like ritual and this routine of refinement in which we know ourselves, in which we become one with our bodies, when we really know how to work with ourselves. And so yoga is, in a sense, a refinement process. And I feel like life right now is refining us too, right? Because we had COVID, which has been changing our daily flow and changing how we live life and asking us to be refined as a collective, right? And then now we have forest fires, and all these things are pushing us in, right? We're having to deal with our stuff because we're having to stay at home and deal with relationship things that happen and all the things, right, that this is stirring up. And it's stirring up a lot of feelings and emotions, and we maybe see things, which is again another way of refining us as a culture, refining us because we have to do things differently, right? We have to live more sustainably. So when I think about these things, it's just to say that Virgo cycle is the evolutionary aim of this cycle is to work, to refine, to improve, so that we can reach a potential, so that we can reach the potential that we have to know ourselves so well that we know what's best and not best, but also that we know ourselves as our fullness, right? Because when we're at our potential, we're realizing the vastness that we have, that we can do more than we think, that our minds can be more clear than we think. We can do all these amazing things in the world. And so it helps me to remember this refining, and that it's not just pain for pain, but it's pain, and sometimes it's that suffering that happens along the way in the midst of knowing that this is the work of the practice to refine us. And in the end, we are getting more and more of a pure version of ourselves. So I don't know, that made me feel better to think about that today, to think about all the refining that's happening in my life. And I was just going to share briefly, I started this 40-day sadhana, which is a practice with Kundalini yoga. And I have to wake up every morning, and it's this like 30-minute or so, like vigorous, like weird mudras and breath practices. And it's been shaking up a lot of stuff. And I can tell you, like, so many mornings I wake up and I'm like, I could just do it later, or I'll have some coffee first, or I'm not really feeling. But it's like been so lovely to continue to say, no, I'm going to do it, and to realize that I can do it, right? That I can, and that the fruit of this has been really rich with stuff to work on. And so I'm just keep reminding myself of this, that this practice is worth it. And it's worth it for us to work with it, right? And let it refine us. So in that spirit, my offering to you as your full moon intention is to find what you want to work on that will be worthy of your time and your effort, so that you can be your best, that you can reach your potential. So whatever work that is, this is the new moon to set that intention. So whether it's what you're doing with your diet, or doing something, a project, or whether it's whatever self-work, that this is a time to say, I'm willing to be refined. I'm willing to put in the effort and to experience the hardship on some of the days, that it's hard to do it, but I know that it's worth it. And that's what will help me get back to my mat, or get back to my whatever. So Blah, blah, blah. That's what I wanted to say. Hope that maybe gives you a little bit of inspiration. And two, I've been trying to smile at myself when I notice all the stuff that I need refinement on, right? Because you just have to have humor sometimes and be like, yeah, not too. Okay, so with all that, let's do some yoga. So rub your hands together. Take some sighs, just let the week go. Or what part of the week we can let go. And lay the hands on the heart, bow towards your heart, bow towards the effort that it takes you to show up today. The efforts that you're placing to live your best life, to be your best self. Honor those intentions, honor those efforts. They're meaningful, they matter. Set your intention for our practice today, whatever it is that you can receive today from the practice, whatever you can generate. Take a deep breath into that and let it go. Let's start on our back, friends. So I'm going to move my blanket. I'm going to spritz a little spray. I'm spritzing Moon Magic because it's a new moon. Whatever you want to spray to give you a little bit of sensuality. Let's just start with our feet flat and our knees knocked together and our feet wide. And then just take a moment to let yourself just, again, sigh it out, be here. And just really let yourself meet up with your week, your day, this moment. And just 3 more breaths, just like that. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. And then one more time. And then go ahead and let your knees roll all the way over to the right. Take your arms overhead, take a big stretch through your left arm. And then let the knees windshield wiper over to the left. Grab onto your right wrist, big stretch here. Out to that whole right side waist. And then make it fluid, just letting the legs windshield wiper side to side. Letting the hips kind of swivel and wobble. Maybe it's fast, maybe it's slow. And then go ahead and come to a slow pause. We'll go ahead and take that right knee in and extend your left leg out. Pull that right knee in for a moment, roll your ankle. And then go ahead and take it up in your right foot into your hand and bring the right thigh all the way to the floor. So the right knee is on the floor, the right thigh is on the floor, and I'm kind of on the right side of my body. Left leg up to the sky, drop your left foot towards your right foot, but I'm missing it, it's behind my heel. Swing your left foot towards the front of your mat and back up, or I guess that's the back of the mat. So my left hand can be another anchor, and I'm just kind of doing like a circle here, a half circle. Coming up and back, just getting a little mobility through this left hip. And this right foot, I'm just kind of pressing down to anchor this right side of my body. Nice big sweeping movements to open through that left hip. We'll do one more. And then I like to kind of let that left foot, or left leg be held by my right. And just kind of take a little modified twist, hip stretch. So the foot of the right is shouldering the left thigh. And then just take a deep breath or 2. And then go ahead and bring that left foot to the floor. And then let the left thigh open a bit. So I'm still leaned over to the right, letting my left thigh open as wide as it wants to. And then straighten through your right leg. And so I'm kind of leaning towards the right here. So my right foot straightens into my right hand if it can. And I can even pull that left knee up if that feels better. Kind of like when you straighten your leg in a half happy baby. So the foot can come up or down. And then I'm going to rebend this leg and bring both feet in. And then I'll take my left hand, or actually I'll take my left knee into my hand first. I forgot we did that first. Kind of just bring it in, move it around a bit. Then grab the left foot with your hand, pull down and roll to the left. Right leg comes up, and I come towards my left foot and then swing it out wide. So you might be really towards the left leg, totally fine. It could be a small or a big circle. I just want you to feel that the right thigh is rotating in the socket of your hip. So this just gives us a little bit of hip mobility, especially if we've been less active because we can't walk around outside. Or if you're like Rachel and I, we just do tons of yoga all day. Just been seeing how many yoga classes I can do. And then right leg over the left. Let that left foot hold on to it and right arm opens. So maybe there's a stretch there for you, maybe not. You could always let the right foot come towards the floor if you want more. And then right foot comes down to the floor, and I'm just gonna let it kind of fall open so I can straighten my left leg. And maybe I don't get it all the way straight, that's okay, just kind of whatever feels good. And if you prefer to have the right knee up, you can. Gonna give some groin opening in her thigh in case Susan wants to do Titipasana again. If she just decides that she has all this energy and she's gonna do it, she's gonna get ready. Okay, bring those legs in. Yeah, and then bring your both knees in. Just give a little massage to the low back. Back and forth, stabilize. Let's come into a bridge pose to stabilize. So go ahead and lift your legs up. We'll let the palms reach up, or reach out, excuse me, and then we'll cross over like we're giving ourselves a hug, and then we'll open back up. And then cross again. Give yourself a little hug. Just get some rotation through the shoulders. Maybe some snap, crackle, pops like I'm feeling as I open up the shoulders. Big breaths. And one more. And then set the hips down. We'll start our first little bit of core work. And so I want this to be really slow and intentional, just to kind of generate some centering effect in your core, okay? So we're gonna go slow. So go ahead and interlace your hands behind your head. So you have a nice little good neck cradle. Elbows point up towards the sky, not straight up and not straight out, somewhere in between, so that you have this wrapping of your scapula across towards the rib cage, okay? Come to tabletop if that works for your body, knees over the hip creases. We're gonna take a deep breath, and on the exhale, we'll imprint the spine, lift the shoulders, extend the right leg, high diagonal, reach to the left. Then we're gonna stay there as we exhale again, pulling the navel, stretching out, feeling that low back really get imprinted into the mat. Come back in center. On the exhale, kind of curl that tailbone, belly draws back, lift your shoulders, extend the left leg, high diagonal. Notice I didn't move the right, twist to the right. And then stay there, feeling the right shoulder blade pick up, the belly draw down, get a deeper twist, and then come back down. So it's really slow. We take some time to seat. Deep breath in. Exhale, curl and lift. Right leg, high diagonal, and then twist to the left. Keep left and right shoulder off the mat. So you can reach through your shoulder blades, pull that belly down, and come back in. On the exhale, curl tailbone, lift your shoulders, extend left leg, and then twist to the right. Pull your navel down a second time, feel a little bit more twist. Come back in. You have 2 more sets on each side. Now just do it with your breath. It's nice and slow and intentional. So we can really feel the burn in the belly, feel that navel center moving, release down, second side. Sync it up with your breath. Second little exhale. This is her last time on each side. Maybe stay a little bit longer, see if there's a little bit more twist, not from your head or your neck, but from that churning of the waist. Bring your right leg back down. Last time to the other side. Pull navel down so you get that extra stretch in your low back, and then release down, feet down. I hope we felt that, yeah. And just kind of take that energy in, let the knees go wide, hands to the hips or the belly. Breathe that in, so send that activation of your core energy to any place you need it. That's that creative energy, that's that sense of centering, knowing yourself. Breathe in, breathe out. We have one more little set. And then you're gonna take your hands back behind you. So we're gonna stay in Baddha Konasana. We're gonna lift the shoulders and we'll do a little side crunch. So like our right shoulder and our right hip go closer. Release it out. Exhale, lift. And then second exhale, go to the left. So I'm kind of skating on the top of my scapula. So I'm just kind of moving with the breath. If you want to make it more challenging, stay lifted. So I'm just laterally shuffling. Same work of pubic bone, kind of releasing down towards your toes. You can be going down in between, or you can be skating with your upper half. Staying lifted. We're going to do 4 more. Inhale. Exhale. Pause and feel it. All right, here's your last one. Then we're done with this isolated core work. And let it go. Okay, nice deep breaths. Again, visualize that warm energy going anywhere you need it in your body, that you need rejuvenation, that you want to wake up or enliven. And then let's grab onto the shins and roll like a ball of it. So massaging the spine. Just feeling the whole spine iron out. And then as you're ready, cross your knees. And I'm going to sit up and face you. You can stay where you are, okay? Take your arms and reach up. If you just sit on a blanket, please do. Hinge forward and reach. Let your head go. Feel that stretch of the low back. So I'm just in the easy pose, ankle and knees. And then walk your hands back in. Left hand reaches over to the left. If you have your right shin and cross, otherwise go the opposite direction. Stretch over to the left. Really let your head be heavy. You can look down. So as you lean to the left, feel that right sitting bone get a little lighter, and just feel the heaviness as the left hip is allowed to drop away from the left wrist. And then slowly coming up. Take a deep breath in and then twist to the left. So you can kind of use your thighs, a little bit of leverage to churn and twist. Again, you can look down, look over your right shoulder to stretch your neck. And then slowly untwist. We're going to extend the legs out in front, so like Dandasana. So again, I might have to lift my sitting bones and spread them a bit so I can get my thighs to turn inward just slightly. Then I'm going to take a deep breath. If I need to bend my knees, I'll do that. Exhale, fold forward. If you can grab for your outer feet, great. If you can only grab your shins or you can't grab anything, that's okay. You can just rest the hands forward or behind you. Take some deep breaths in a forward bend. Hopefully your pelvis is tipping forward, and if it's not, then sit on a block or a blanket so that your pelvis can tip forward and you can feel a stretch in your low back. And then slowly coming up, cross your left ankle over your right if that was not the position that you had last time, and pull the legs in. So now we have easy pose with the left shin on front. Arms reach up, inhale, and then exhale, forward fold. Let your head go. Hopefully you feel a gentle or a pretty deep stretch in your low back. Slowly come up and then extend your right arm to the side, left arm up and over. And again, I can look down or let my head go if that's helpful. So as I feel the left hip get a little lighter because I'm leaning to the right, can you feel that left kind of hip drop away from your left torso, your left wrist, kind of feeling that stretching out? And then slowly coming back up. We're going to twist to the right. So left hand touches the left knee. Maybe I draw it down as I churn. One more breath. And then let it go. This time start with your knees bent. So I'm going to grab onto the tops of the toes so I can stretch the upper back, so I can let my forehead come towards my knees. So I might really bend the knees, or I might have a little bit, really let the upper back stretch away from the heart. So as I press my feet into my hands and I pull my upper back away from my hands, I should get a nice little stretch in my upper back. Let your forehead be heavy. And then you can either let your heels slide forward and come back into that forward fold, or it might feel nice to keep the knees bent. So you can decide. 3 more breaths. And then slowly bring it up. And then let those legs move to one side. We'll come to all fours pose. And then we'll come to downward facing dog. So let's just move a little bit of flow so that we can warm up through the legs a little bit more. So do some of those standing postures. So we're going to just do a little bit of just a flowing movement. Okay, so it's just at your own pace. All right. We're going to take that right leg up. We're going to step the right leg forward between your hands, come to the tips of your fingers. You're in a low lunge. Then you're going to step and fold forward, top of the mat. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, fold. We're going to step the right leg back. We're in that low lunge. It can be knee down or up. You choose. Long spine, inhale. Exhale, down dog. And then just come to plank. Exhale, down dog. 2 more times. Plank. Exhale. Last time, plank. Exhale. Step your left leg forward between your hands. Come to the tips of the fingertips. Step and fold forward. Halfway lift. Forward fold, left leg back, low lunge. Just a breath or so here, just to feel the leg. Stepping into downward facing dog, and then again 3 times just plank to down dog. Just to kind of get your shoulders warm. Kind of move from that core one more time. We're going to switch the lunge up. So step the right leg forward between your hands, come to a high lunge. So take your time coming up, round through those legs, come back up, and we're going to step and fold forward just like we did before. Halfway lift, fold forward, right leg back, come into high lunge. Inhale, exhale. Hands down, downward facing dog. Come forward plank 3 times. Just, again, warming up those shoulders. 1 more time. Let's step the right leg forward between our hands. This time the knee will come down. We'll rise up, low lunge. Inhale, exhale. And then hands to the floor. Step and fold forward. Long spine, fold on in, right leg back, knee down. Rise up, inhaling and exhaling, just kind of feeling the pulsing of the legs and the arms. Stepping into down dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. 1 more time. This time, step your right leg forward and put your left knee down and come to 2 right angles. So I have my knee and my ankle, my hip and my knee. So this is a different type of lunge. Take your left arm up, reach up, and then form a fist as you put your left elbow on top of your left knee or your left thigh. Palm flat. Now I want you to pull the navel back. Think about core work. You did lengthen through your tailbone, twist to the right, but let your head go or look down. So it should be a super strong ab curl because you're lengthening the tailbone. I'm drawing that right hip back. I'm churning my belly, but I'm relaxing my head, which makes the core work even harder. And I want you to stay here for 5 breaths. Really work the pressure of the palm to the fist in one line, so that should help your wrist if they're tender. One more breath. Then release your hands down to the floor. Seal your back foot flat so that you're in a warrior 2 legs. I'm going to turn around and show you. Warrior 2 legs. And then you're going to walk out on the diagonal for down dog lunge. That's heel to arch. I'm in warrior 2 legs, moving that right thigh away from my right arm. And I'm in down dog arms or tented palms, or I have my hands on blocks. Okay, if I need to. I'm going to press that right thigh down and forward as I draw the outer right hip back towards my left heel. So I stay pretty true to warrior 2. So from here, walk your hands underneath you, press your hand into your right thigh and lean towards the back leg. So I'm getting a groin stretch now. So my right hand presses into my right inner thigh and I lean away from that action. It's a strange pose, I'll give it to you. Got a little forest yoga for you today. A couple more breaths. These are some forest yoga shapes. Okay, we're going to release the right leg, all right arm, straighten the right leg, and draw your hands towards the right. So my right arm grabs my left leg, and I just kind of turn and lean. So it's like a weird triangle where I let my head go, and I'm just holding on to my inner thigh for some balance as I press my hips forward. I could also hold on to my left arm, my left shin, or my right shin. Gosh, you can't talk. I could use a block too. It's a very strange pose. So it's basically a triangle, but I'm just letting my head and my upper body slouch. Don't let go of the core work though. Belly button pulls back. Tailbone draws towards my front heel. Okay, bend your right knee, come up to warrior 2. Take a moment because you might notice that you might be lightheaded from being upside down. Left arm out to the side. Internally rotates, comes to the small of the back, and I come towards side angle. And I'm going to let this left shoulder drop down my back, and I'm going to do a neck release. So it's side angle with a neck release. So I can either look down or let my head go. Pull your belly towards your forearm. And as you spin your waist up, don't let your shoulder go with it. Round the upper back. And feel that release of the upper back as the shoulder and the elbow draw away from the left ear. And you've got 3 more deep breaths for this. One more. Now use your hand to lift your head up. Whew. Okay, release your arms, warrior 2, just for a moment. And then we'll cartwheel the hands down to the floor. And then we'll come to a child's pose. So put your knees down and sink back. And just take a moment to pause, because those were a lot of, in a sense, fiery shapes, but I want you to take a moment to kind of relax a bit. Let me know if you had any questions about any of those shapes, if they didn't make any sense. Okay, one more deep breath. And then when we're ready, we're going to come back to downward facing dog. So we'll do the left side. So I'll step the left leg forward between my hands and put the right knee down. So I have 2 right angles, knee, ankle, and hip knee. I'll take the right arm up and I'll get long through my right side body. And I'll form a fist, and that elbow is right on top of my left thigh. I'll flatten my left palm and that have a straight line from left elbow to right. Now I press these 2 together, pull my belly back and turn. I'm going to tuck my tailbone a bit. So I'm going to draw that tailbone down towards the earth and forward. then I let my head go or I look down. And you'll notice that creates a lot of instability. So we have to use the core in our left foot and our right thigh. So feel all those strong foundational muscles turn on as you twist deeply, letting your neck stretch. 3 more breaths, you can do this. Keep breathing out, letting tension dissipate. And then release your hands down, and we're gonna find warrior 2 legs. So that's heel to arch, and then turn again, so I'm not facing behind you. And then we come to down dog with our arms. So the trick is not letting your left knee and shin come with you as you turn towards the right. So pull your outer left hip back, away from your outer left foot, and in towards your right inner foot. So I just kind of swing my hips slightly to the right. And you can stay right here, or you can walk your hands back underneath you. And then with my left hand, I press the left thigh away and I lean to the right of it. So just get a little bit extra groin work. And if that doesn't make sense, just stay in your down dog arms. A couple more breaths here. And now go ahead and straighten your left leg, walk towards your left leg. And once again, my left arm goes towards my right leg. So I just reach back and I can grab the inner thigh, great. And then I'm gonna tone my belly, lengthen my tailbone, and just let the right arm hang. So it's like a weird triangle. So I'm getting a left hamstring stretch and a right side body stretch. So I might spin my chest up a bit, but I let this arm drape, my head drape. And if I need a block, because I need something to reach into, then grab a block. So don't let your hips swing to the left. Bring them towards the right. Pull your belly back. Feel the core work that we did. You need that core work. Last deep breath in here. And then bend your knee really carefully. Come to warrior 2 and give yourself a moment, because we've been upside down and for a moment, so it might be a little disorienting. Right arm out. Internally rotate, bring the back of your hand and your forearm to the low back, and then come towards side angle. And I'm using my forearm here. And I'm gonna draw that thigh out, and I'm gonna let my head go. So same work, belly back, tailbone towards my right heel. And as I'm turning my chest, the shoulder relaxes, but the elbow draws away from my ear. So it should be a nice neck stretch for you. So feel the core holding you up, your legs, to let the upper body dissipate tension. Last breath in. Deep breath out. Use your hand to lift your head. Warrior 2, nice and slow, just coming up. And then cartwheel your hands down. So we'll come to all fours and we'll do some cat-cow now. So heart lifts, and then exhale, press the floor away. We'll do this a couple more times. And I'll come to that cow posture and hinge at the hips so your heart's lifted, and then let your heart relax. So your forehead comes down to the mat. You might have gotten a little bit of different sensation through your hips, perhaps, maybe not. And then breathe in and out. And then one more deep breath in, one more deep breath out. And then slowly you're gonna come to a seat. So extend your legs forward. So again, you might wanna sit on a blanket, and that's if you are feeling a lot of tension in your hip flexors, okay? Take your right foot and go ahead and place it so that your foot is kind of right at your knee. And I'm gonna use a strap for this. If you don't have a strap, it's okay, but I'll show it to you in case you do. So you're gonna lasso the strap across your left foot, and I'm gonna place the strap across my right thigh. So I loop it around the heel of my straight leg, and I lay it on my right thigh, okay? I'm gonna twist towards my left leg. So my right arm grabs the strap, my left arm inner rotates and grabs the strap too. And that way, as I twist and turn, I'm feeling a little bit of shoulder work too. If you can grab your foot, great, you don't need the strap. But I want you to keep your spine somewhat straight. So I'm going to show you now the side profile in case that makes it easier. Okay? So I have an internal rotation just like I did. I'm grabbing onto the strap and I'm letting that shoulder drip down my back as I turn. So I want you to feel that right shoulder blade release towards your right palm. Feel the left shoulder blade release away from the back of the heart tube. Turn your belly, feel a stretch. And again, if I don't have the strap, my hand's just at my leg, and I'm doing the half bind. A towel works too if you don't have a strap. Breathe in and breathe out. Slowly unravel, and now take your foot a little more close to your inner thigh. So I have a pretty large angle. Hopefully that's okay for you. Again, you can sit on a blanket. You can use the strap. And so a couple options. One is I can grab onto the strap with my hand, and I can reach up and over, or a neck release. Some people like to grab onto the strap and kind of pull away, and that kind of feels good. It's more active, so a lot of you might enjoy the neck release. But I still want to spin and turn as I do the neck release. So whatever you're doing, I'm lengthening to this left side. Put a block or a blanket under your right knee if you need it. Nice deep breath. Wrist moves away from shoulder if I'm doing neck release. I'm just opening up side body, low back. It's a great one for the low back, sacral area. One more deep breath. And then using your hand to lift your head, slowly come up, and then we'll bring that leg forward. Okay, and we'll switch legs. So now I'm going to lasso that right foot. I'm going to bend my left foot in so my foot touches my knee somewhere in there, and I lay the strap over my left bent knee. So I'm going to inner rotate the right arm to grab the strap. My left hand grabs the strap as far down as I can go without rounding. We want to get more of a hip hinge feel. So hold on to the strap on both sides, twist and turn, and you can let your head go or you can look down. That same twisting word, shoulder gets heavy. Now feel your left shoulder release away from your heart and reach towards your hand. Almost let that twist you deeper as you kind of let that right shoulder relax. So you're getting a nice stretch at the back of the heart. For 3, for 2, slowly coming up. And then I'm going to open up the right leg. Foot goes anywhere inside that I can place it. It doesn't have to be a super wide angle. You may or may not want the strap. So again, the strap can be a way to get kind of a deeper side bend, but I'm turning to do the side bend, right? So I'm not facing my leg, different pose. Turn and bring that right sideways through, and you can either do a neck release. So I might go up to go out. I could reach it up and over, and maybe I go for my strap. That's really whatever works for you. So listen to your own body and just kind of what feels like it would be super good feeling. Broaden across your collarbones. Let your body settle for 3 or 4 more breaths. And then one more nice big breath. Exhale, sigh it out. Use your hand to lift your head up nice and slow. And then go ahead and bring both of your feet forward. Nice. Shake it out. So I'm going to give you a couple options for this next one because this one is a pretty deep stretch for the hip flexors and kind of front of the thigh. So if you're not feeling that today, if you're like, oh no, I've had enough of intensity with fires, just grab your ankle, lie onto your back. You can even lasso it. So I could lasso it if I want to make it less intense. And I can kind of just use the strap to kind of have a little active tension. Okay, that's if you don't have either wall space or it just isn't feeling good. Otherwise, James, this one's for you. I'm gonna back my knee up, flush with the wall. So my back knee flush with the wall, my ankles straight up, a little bit wide. I can stay on my shin and walk my hands up. And that's gonna be pretty darn intense. Or, oh, I put my foot down and I try to back my hips towards the wall. So this first position is a quad. So we're trying to get hip to heel. Mine does not always go there, but maybe it will today. That's why I practice yoga for a long time, frequently, with enthusiasm. Okay, we're gonna take 5 or so more breaths, trying to get the hips backed up towards the heel. So again, you're gonna be feeling the quad more than anything. And now let the hips release away and try to come more towards a lunge. So if I'm on my shin, I'm gonna try to lift up with my hip away from my heel. If I have the foot flat and if I have this strap, now I wanna lift a bit. So I wanna get the hip flexor, okay? So you pick which of those feels like what you wanna do. I'm gonna come back into this one. Oh. 5 more breaths. Whew. This one's a deep one. One more. Okay, friends. Go ahead and release down. We're going to come to standing splits at the wall. So I can either press my foot into the wall and I can kind of press on back to kind of get this hamstring come to the top of the foot. So I'm pretty far from the wall. So if you have a wall and you want to practice that, otherwise you can just do standing splits as well. I just like the wall because it kind of adds a little bit of extra resistance. So I can kind of go in and out, go in and out. Okay, both feet down. When you're ready, forward fold. And then we're going to go to side 2. So remember the first one's the quad. So that's hip down, thigh bone and hip are parallel or one straight line like the first we did. So if I'm doing this at the wall, I'm going to put my knee flush with the baseboard. It's flush. And I have my shin down because that's an easier version. And I'm going to back my butt towards my heel. If I can get my foot there, again, I back my butt towards my heel. And then I feel that stretch. So I might have a block under my hand. If you're on your belly, pull your heel towards your butt, press your hips forward. That's the alternatives to get the quad. We're going 5 deep breaths. Really breathe, let some tension dissipate from this area, give it some breath. And now we let the hips move away from the heel and we get more of a hip flexor. So if you're on your belly, kick your foot into your hand. And if I'm at the wall, I try to kind of lift up and away, if I can. Woo. Breathe a lot. Smile, because hey, this is showing you something that you get to work on, and that maybe over time you'll see something different. You'll feel something different. One more breath. And then it's that standing split. So I'm going to come away from the wall and walk my foot up the wall to the degree that I can, and I'll use my hands, kind of press myself back. 3, 2, and let it go. Come down to your knees. Take a moment. That was a big one. Okay, how was that? Yay. Okay, got some applause. I was hoping I wasn't going to get any click off here. Okay, we're going to stretch the shoulders towards the end and do a little bit more hip work, but I want to give you time to work on your toes. So before we get into that shoulder work, you have time to work on your pose. So if you're working a balance shape, you go right in. If you're working a squat, you go right in. If you're working your plank to chaturanga, do that as many times as you need to. Those of you that were working core, we have been working a lot of core. So you have an ability, if you do not want to do that, Otherwise, I'll have you do some core, some crow abs, which we've done before. So you're gonna exhale, bring your elbows towards your thighs, and you can straighten your legs straight up, or you can straighten them straight out, okay? So I do crow, and then I'm gonna take them straight out, or straight up, okay? That's what you're gonna do for a little bit of time. I'm gonna watch. That was awesome. Good to see you guys working on those. Hope you feel good. Okay, we're gonna do a little shoulder work. So this, I'm gonna show you the work that we're gonna do on our back, because I want you to be really careful so that you don't overdo it. So we worked a lot at internal rotation. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this on our back, and we're just gonna get a lie back, which gives you like a deepening. If that doesn't work, I'll have you do this seated, and you can add the upper. So this arm is an external rotation. This arm is internal rotation, okay? But we're gonna do it on our side. So start by lying on your back, on your left side, okay? So I lie on my left side, my right arm comes up, I internally rotate it, and I bring it up my back as far as I can, so don't force it. It's okay if it's pretty low. Then I'm gonna use my right foot so I have some leverage, and I'm gonna roll onto my back. Okay, so I'm gonna use my weight of my spine to get a deeper stretch here. So here are some options, okay? I can bend my knee, externally rotate my right foot, grab it with my left hand, and come down. And then I'm only doing the bottom arm. I could still let the heel hold that arm, and then I can take and then reach my left arm down as if I were to touch. So I want my ribs to release towards the earth. And this can be a pretty deep stretch if you relax your collarbones. You could also do this in Baddha Konasana or butterfly. Really doesn't matter, even just feet flat. Let's take 5 more breaths. This can be a really great one for the chest. Opening collarbones. Okay, to come out, you're gonna release your left arm, roll onto your left, take that arm up, and release it down. We'll start on our right now. So roll to your right side, left arm comes up, internally rotate it, and then take the back of your hand and forearm towards your upper back. Left foot steps behind you to brace the fall so that you can stop at any point if this is too much for your shoulder blade. Because everyone's different. This might be too much rotation. So I could either just stay here, knees bent or straight, trying to relax my left collarbones, settling. This right arm could reach up and then reach towards my left. I don't have to actually touch it, but I'm just getting a little bit of extra stretch here. Kind of reach those elbows apart. If you're doing the legs, externally rotate the left leg. Right ankle kind of presses it back before we release. So I have my right ankle like a stop. It gives me a nice big stretch through my left groin. Nice big breaths here. Couple more breaths. And then let your legs go, roll to your right, and then release that left arm up. And let it come out. Okay. Slowly come up. We're going to do one final little hip stretch, and that's going to be for the groins. So if you have tender knees, this one may not be a great one. You might need to pad it. I'm going to come to all fours, and I'm going to turn my toes out so that the inside edge of my feet is what's touching the mat. And I straddle my legs. I can't go all the way down. And I come down to my forearms. Maybe I come down to a block. So it's a pretty deep groin opener. It does can be very tender for these knees. So if you're like, that doesn't work for me, here's one option. Lay on your belly and draw that left knee up pretty high. That can be just as good a groin stretch. Or lay on your back, straddle stretch, just like this. You can do the same pose on your back. Okay? So we're only going to be here for, like, if you're in the big straddle, make sure your inside edge of your feet are touching the floor. If you're doing one leg at a time, I'm going to tell you when to swap. Yeah, I think everybody looks okay. Hopefully you feel okay. It should not be hurting your knees. Just make sure this is not painful for your knees. If it is, then please do a different pose. So the one on your belly, your knee is going to come up as high and as wide as you feel like you want it, so that you get that groin stretch. And then switch it out nice and slow. So if you're doing one at a time, bring the opposite knee in. If you're still in frog pose because you're doing both at the same time, just stay for a little bit longer if you can. And if you can, it's okay. You can come out anytime. Okay, slowly coming out, friends. So we're going to need to neutralize that because those are really big hip openers. So you have two options to neutralize. If you're not near a wall space and that's just not plausible, then we're going to do bridge pose. If you have a block, that's always great to slide under your low back, and we'll just kind of rest there with a little bit of lumbar support. So bridge or bridge with block. If you want to bind your hands, you certainly can. If you're near a wall space, though, this is one of my favorites. It's really therapeutic for the back. Or if you're near a sofa, actually, that works too. So you want to have knees, feet, hips, right angles, right? So I have 90 degrees here. And I'm just going to allow my feet to press down and forward into the wall, and this grounds my low back. I can stay there for a moment, and then I can extend the legs towards legs on a wall. At an angle, or your flesh of your glutes flush with the wall. Pick either of those three shapes to rest in. Let me know if you've got questions. Really let that low back spread and settle. And then envelop yourself with that breath. Really let your breath soothe you, relax you, replenish you. So if you were in that bridge at the wall and you were activating your legs, now you can come to legs on a wall, or you can just be relaxed so that you're not working. If you want to stay with bridge with the block, you can, friends, or you can remove the block and lie on your back. And then you can get into your resting shape. Shape in which you get to receive your practice, which is really one of the most important parts of the practice, right? It's not that we only work and that we don't never cease to work, but that our practice is balanced with that easefulness and rest in which we catch up with ourselves, with the practice, with what's been created, what has been already refined. So really let yourself receive what you've done. Like, that's an important part of all that you've just done. To receive it, be with it, feel it, connect to it. Kind of feeling your breath being this vehicle for breathing out that which has been refined. Old patterns, old disbeliefs. Remember, we've been delete, 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 deleting them. As you meet them, we delete them. As we meet perceived limitations, we can go further. We can smile at ourselves and go, I found the next project, the next work. This is refinement. Relaxing your belly, relaxing your jaw, relaxing the space between your eyes. I'm going to read you something as you just continue breathing and receiving. And this is talking about the tapas that I spoke of, which is that self-discipline in refining ourselves. No one wants to suffer, yet the first word from Patanjali in the section on yoga practice is tapas, accepting pain. He gives prominent position to an attitude, a way of perceiving and responding to the experiences of life. We are challenged to engage life actively, with an outlook that may seem far-fetched, that anything that happens, no matter how painful, can be used for spiritual growth. In some way, although not always readily apparent, everything truly is for the good, our good. Tapas is not resignation, a passive submission to the sorrows of life. It is the embracing of pain as friend and teacher. All right, dear friends, start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Stretch it out. Come to seated if that feels good. Rub your hands together at your heart. Create that heat and energy. Place it on your eyes for a moment. Igniting your fiery intuition, your sense of vision. And bring it down to your heart. So what may you today on this new moon aspire to put your work and effort into that will be meaningful for you? That you know will be worth the work, worth at times the pain or the tapas that is brought forth in our refinement. Knowing that in the end, we are becoming closer and closer to the desires of our soul, the desires of that which brings us into depth, into oneness with who we are. Thank you for your practice today. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for the discipline, the devotion, and the endurance that this practice asks us to do. And I wouldn't be able to do it without you guys, so thank you. Let's take one time through of Loka Samasta, and then we'll Om together, okay? Deep breath in. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Deep breath in for Om. Om. Yeah. May all beings be happy and free. May our words, thoughts, and actions contribute to the happiness and freedom of ourselves and all other beings. And so it is. Namaste.